The ghost of the doomed circus train. Then, June 22nd, 1918, 4 a.m., Ivanhoe, Indiana. Railroad tracks, Section 2, signaling red lights, 2581. Tonight, Halloween, 102 years later. This story is for teenagers and young adults. The 19 incident is factual. The teens in the story are fictional. As for the ghost of the train engineer, you be the judge. Even if all this thick white fog blowing in the west damp wind covering the empty gravel sand pits wasn't so thick, and the railroad buildings, train station, and tower long gone, I wouldn't know the time. I only know it must be Halloween night because the curious teenagers just arrived. I'm not even sure how long I've been gone. They seem to be hesitant to exit the van. My assumption is that the teens are shivering more from fear than the cold and the blackness of this Halloween night. Oh, the van doors are open. The first girl looks so thin. She's rather tall. It's rather noticeable that she's got a crooked body. I doubt she can walk steadily even on windless nights. What is she wearing? Her costume. Is that of a trapeze artist? How dare her be so insensitive? The boy exiting behind her, he's aiming his flashlight straight onto the girl's face. He's saying something that makes her face look even more frightened than it was. I recognize some of the words. Remember, Mariah, when I said in tonight's Halloween school pageant, when I was quoting Edgar Allan Poe, the wailings and howlings of the hopeless and the damned? He's dressed as a clown. Oh, no. So disrespectful. Oh, the second girl just stepped out of the van. She's mumbling something. Leave her alone, Micah. And despite Joshua's moaning and groaning, I'm feeling very thankful that we didn't listen to him and we brought flashlights and didn't go out and buy oil lamps. Her costume is the same as the woman who is assistant to the lion tamer. What is wrong with these kids? Have they no decency? No respect for the 86 circus performers and laborers and their families who have died here? Who I accidentally killed? Behind her is a second boy. He's wearing what looks like a costume. It's my train engineer overalls and cap. How dare he? In a checkered red and white scarf covering his mouth and nose, how dare he mock me? Where did he get those clothes? What is his name? The first girl speaking. Quit your pouting, Joshua, and stop your complaining. The flashlights are sufficient and safe. His name is Joshua. He's abominable. He has no idea how much I've been suffering for however long it's been since the old wooden train cars exploded and set on fire from those oil lamps. Joshua is speaking. I told you over and over while driving here from the school, while we are here, do not call me Joshua. I had my grandmother make this train engineer costume for me, the exact same one the engineer was wearing when he fell asleep and caused the circus train to crash into the other train. His name was Alonzo Sargent, and that is my name for as long as we are here at this exact site. Alonzo. That was given name. I remember Sargent. How have I forgotten? Has it been that long since I drew my last human breath? What is the Lisa girl saying? It was weird enough when one of the van's front headlights blew out on the way here. But as the van pulled to stop at this haunted place, the inside overhead light bulb burst. I've got the chills, and I seriously doubt it's from this freezing wind. And why is it so cold here? It wasn't this cold when we left school. Tiptoeing along the gravel, they are having difficulty seeing anything in front of them. Nothing. That's what's in front of them. Oh, the crisped and crinkled autumn leaves are attacking their faces. With her trembling, frail voice sounding rather raspy, the Mariah girl is about to mutter, "Please, let's get back into the van." "Shut up, Mariah!" shouts Micah. "Don't tell her to shut up," Lisa retorts in defense of her feeble friend. "Have respect for all the people who died here." I can hear their words before they jump out of their mouths. "No arguing," says Joshua. "Just a few miles away is a cemetery where the circus trained people are buried. Who knows if their spirits are there or if their spirits are still here? Or maybe they just float back and forth. In any case, let's not disturb them." Micah says, "As Edgar Allan Poe wrote, the spirits of the dead who stood in life before there are again in death around thee, and shall overshadow thee. Be still." "Something smells bad," Lisa says, grasping for breath, probably trying to prevent herself from screaming. I'm surprised she can smell the flaming oils that I've been smelling from the burning wooden train cars how long ago? Folding his arms tightly across his chest, Micah mumbles with sternness, "Okay, let's just get this over with. I have a Halloween party to get my frozen butt to. What do you want us to do now?" "Yes," Maria replies. "Time is running short." Suddenly, Joshua surprises them with his shriek. "But wait! Quiet! No one say a word or make a sound." Is it my imagination playing games, or are my ears betraying my reasoning? Do I hear a low moaning, or is it the echoes of a rapidly approaching circus train? How dare he make fun of? Oh dear. That Mariah girl seems to be in near hysterical panic, and even in the fog, she resembles a grim phantasm of ghostly pallor. Joshua's voice is no longer the sound of his voice. He's imitating me. How does he know what I sound like? I was going about 25 miles per hour at this point, but did not reduce speed as I expected that the next signal would probably clear before I got to it. Of that I would see if at danger in time to stop. The wind was blowing very hard into one of my sides and Wait. I remember hearing those words before. Those are my words. Those are the words that I said at my trial for... What did they charge me with? Yes, I remember now. Manslaughter. My trial for manslaughter. It was an accident! It was an accident! Now Micah is about to shout. There's nothing funny about this, Joshua. Joshua is still going to imitate me. Before reaching the next signal, I dozed on account of heat and cab, not realizing what happened to me until within 75 to 90 feet, I awoke suddenly and saw the tail or maker lights showing red on a train directly ahead of me. We struck almost instantly. Lisa is whispering through clenched teeth. You sure have spent a lot of time memorizing the words of the train engineer from his trial. Too bad you messed up the words of Edgar Allan Poe in tonight's Halloween pageant. Oh my God, I cannot be here any longer, Mariah mumbles. I'm really sorry for being so stupid for coming here. Shut your mouth. Shut your stupid mouth, Micah bellows. Don't tell her or me or anyone else to shut up, Lisa yells back, shoving Micah. Joshua in his own voice is about to command, Stop it! We are the only living entities at this place on Halloween night. All else here are those once upon a time people who death engulfed their once upon a time bodies and swallowed them up where they now lie down on the street in decaying wood coffins. Get me out of here, Mariah wants to say, but her lips are trembling so badly she can't talk. Joshua's spontaneous outburst of, Oh my God, I can see someone in the cemetery, look over there, causes His three friends spontaneously shriek in unison. "You're not funny, Joshua," Michael yells. Even from a distance, I can see Joshua's eyes widely open. Suddenly, Joshua lets out a shrilly laugh. Mariah spins around and is crying, I want to go home." Lisa is furious. "What kind of game are you playing, Joshua? We came here only to say we came as a Halloween teenage tradition, like hundreds of other teens in like over 100 years. That's it. We came, we saw, now we go." I clearly see that the boy mocking me is frightened more than his peers. He lifts his face, closes his eyes, and opens his mouth. The boy's heart, I'm sure, is pounding with the electrical energies of disorder. He's staring straight at me. He glares at me as if I'm a foreign creature. I am a dead foreign creature. Now he's turning his head to look up at the full moon peeking through the wind-blowing fog. I know Mariah, Joshua, Micah, and Lisa are each feeling cold chills running up and down their arms. Unlike so many teenagers before them in this town, their passionate enthusiasm for spending a few moments on Halloween night in the spot of one of the worst train wrecks in American history, a circus train, killing 86 people, including the 2 children of the lead clown, bodies burned beyond recognition from the flaming oil, buried in one large plot, each with a tombstone, almost marked unknown male, unknown female, has turned to terror. I study the miserable-looking teenage faces. Joshua whispers, "I see him." Micah has had enough. "Say it again, Joshua, and I'll kick your butt." Mariah, sniffling either from the cold air or from an approaching onset of tears, turns her slightly shaking head to look at Joshua, who continues to stare at me, ignoring his friends. The engineer, Alonzo Sargent, he's standing over there. I'm not joking. I really ain't joking. I see him. Jabbing his fists left and right as if punching an invisible creature, Micah is trying to bring joviality to the situation. "Point the way, I'll beat him up for killing all those circus performers." Mariah can't hold back the tears. "How many lions and elephants were killed? I have the disease the doctors call elephant's neck. That's what makes my neck so long and my body so crooked. I care about elephants, all of you know. There must have been elephants on the train. Maybe that's why they have 5 elephant statues overlooking the cemetery plot where the circus performers are buried." Lisa remains. She looks so perturbed. I wonder why she isn't thinking anything. Her mind seems paralyzed. Based on Joshua's sporadic breathing, I assume his lungs are gasping and pulse racing. The rapid clicking of his tongue and little pathetic whispering are confirming my suspicion. "So, Mr. Teenage Joshua, I suppose I should be thankful that you decided to make your Halloween costume exactly resemble the uniform I wore the night I was a circus train engineer. I've been here ever since for one reason only, waiting to latch onto a human body to take me to the cemetery so I can apologize to all the spirits of the circus performers buried there. But all these Halloween nights, when teenagers showed up to merely add their warped energies to ever-growing popular urban legend based on a true-to-life tragedy, none of them had the energies I could latch onto. But now, you, memorizing the words I spoke at my trial, wreck happened at 4:05 a.m., June 22nd, and I stayed there for an hour or more assisting in getting people out of the wreckage. I had been in the service of the railroad for approximately 28 or 29 years. There were accusatory rumors I had been fired once. The accident was due solely to the fact that I accidentally fell asleep and I had no intent to injure any person. Not one thing was done with malice. Now, I can latch onto your warped energies and you can take me to the cemetery. All Joshua could utter were words from the kids' Halloween school pageant, words of Edgar Allan Poe. The boundaries which divide life from death are at best shadowy and vague. Who shall say where the one ends and where the other begins? The only sounds I heard were the other three teens carefully but swiftly walking over the gravel to their van. Joshua continued to stare at me. So now, Mr. Teenage Joshua, otherwise known tonight as me, take me to the cemetery. I want the spirits of the circus performers that I accidentally killed to know what was my fate. You might know I was arrested, put on trial, but the jury was hung. I wasn't convicted. But I should have been, but I wasn't. I wasn't! I took my last human breath long after. I don't remember how many years I lived as a guilty human, or how long I've been wandering the site of the accident. Even though I don't have lungs or a nose, I can still smell the flames. Even though I don't have ears, I can still hear the screaming and moaning. Even though I don't have conscience, I'm still haunted by remorse. I fell asleep. That's all. I fell asleep. The wind rustling through the leaves brought the teenage boy back to the present moment of his reality. He must have felt a surge of energy jerking and flowing up from his stomach through his lungs and throat onto his tongue. He simply opened his mouth before running to the van, howling like a wounded banshee. He was waving his hands through the air as if trying to swish away the fog. I shout, "Wait for me! Take me to the cemetery!" I hear Micah shout angrily, "Your Halloween prank, Joshua, will be a trick-or-treat that Mariah will never forget." The last words I hear from any of the teens as they slam shut the van doors and speed away is from one of them. I think it is actually the terrified Mariah. As Mr. Poe said, it is. You will easily perceive that I am one of the many uncounted victims of the imp of the perverse. I cannot control myself. Joshua, come back! It's too dark. There's too much fog. I can't find my way to the cemetery. I've tried for years. Yes, I've tried ever since I took my last human breath. It is my responsibility to make amends to the dead, or else I will stay here and relive the horror for all eternity. It is my responsibility to make amends to the dead, or else I will stay here and have to relive the horror for all eternity. Story written by Joseph Galata. Voice recordings by Ryan Hayes. And sound mix design by Randall Scandal.